This is a tutorial to getting started Cinema 4D for beginner. In this video we are going to be looking at Cinema 4D parametric objects. So let's start with a cube. You can see it was shown in the Object Manager. The Object Manager is a control center for all objects in the scene. Now let's go to the Attribute Manager. The cube has a few tabs here under its Attribute Manager. Basic, Coordinate, Object and Form. The first is Basic. Here, you can put any names you want. The layer will be not introduced in this video. When we set the Visible in Editor to on, we will see a green dot appear here. When we set to off, the cube in the viewport disappears, and the color of dot will turn to red. When we set the Visible in Renderer to on, we will also see a green dot below this. And when we set to off, the color of the dot turns red. But there is no change in the viewport. Now we click on Render View in the toolbar, you will find that there is nothing in the renderer. When we set to default and click on this again, you can see the cube appear here. You can also do this with click over here. And when you click with hold down Alt at the same time, the Visible in Editor and the Visible in Renderer will be switched synchronously. And if you click with hold down Shift, it will be quickly turned off. If you click with hold down Shift and Alt, the Visible in Editor and the Visible in Renderer will be turned off synchronously. The next is Use Color. When we turn it on, we can set the color of the object. Enabled. At the moment the attribute is ticked, but you also can untick it. And the object will disappear, and there will be red cross here. When we click on the render view, we will find the object also disappear in the renderer. You can also do this with click over here. The last is X-ray. You can put tick in this box, and that allows you to see the inside of the cube. Now we need to create a sphere to demonstrate. Hold down over the cube button in the toolbar, click on Sphere option. You will see a sphere inside the cube. And when we untick, the sphere will be invisible. And if we tick again, it will be visible. Now we delete the sphere first. Select the cube. The second tab is Coordinate. When we move this object with the Move tool, its position will change. We can also move by entering new values here. You can click over here to change its size, so you can see we are working in centimeters. Simultaneously pressing the Alt key will cause the value to change in steps of 0.1. Pressing Shift 2 in steps of 10. When we click and drag here, the number will quickly increase or decrease. When we right-click here, it will return to the initial value. Okay, let's go to the scale. You can scale the object in the x-axis. You can also do this in the y-axis. But now, we will introduce the difference between the Use Model tool and Use Object tool modes. Hold down over here, you will see more options. Select Model Tool Mode. Click on the Scale tool in the toolbar. Now we select the cube. When we click and drag, it will only change the size, not affect the scale value here. When we select Object Tool Mode, the scale value will be also changed with the size of the object. This is the difference between Model Tool Mode and Object Tool Mode. The rule of thumb is, the Model Tool is for modeling, the Object Tool is for animation. This is a control for rotation. Heading Pitch Bank. Let me explain this with an airplane picture. Heading is in rotating around the y-axis, pitch is vertical rotating around the x-axis, and bank is fuselage rotating around the z-axis. Now let's go through freeze transformation. When we click on Freeze All the parameters above will return to the initial value, and it appear in the value box below. Now we can adjust based on these parameters. When we click on Unfreeze All, it will go back to the box above. And click on Freeze P if you want to freeze the position separately. To freeze the scale, click on Freeze S, and to freeze the rotation, click on Freeze R. The last tab is Phong. Actually, this attribute is a tag. So we can click here to select, and delete it by pressing Delete on the keyboard. Re-add this tag. Just go to Tags, select Cinema 4D Tags, click on Phong. Now we need to change a model so we can understand it better. Hold down over the cube in the toolbar, and click on Sphere. When we delete the Phong tag, the surface of the sphere has become a little more blocky. And we can cancel the operation by pressing Ctrl+Z in the keyboard. When we increase the value of Phong angle, we will see the sphere become smoother. So this tag is used to control the smoothness of the object. Now we need to delete this object first. Make a cube again. Let's go through the object attribute. There are things called segments. This is how many segments you would want for each thing. You can go up and down. So if I just do that, you'll see that very little changes unless I change my display to garage shading lines. There you can see that we have these segments. This also can be done by using some keyboard shortcuts. Press N first, then press A, switch to garage shading mode. Press N first, then press B, switch to garage shading lines mode. Next thing is fillet. It allows you to soften the edges of the object. We can grab its little orange handle to choose its fillet radius, so whether or not it's really big or really small. You can also do this by changing the value here. The number of subdivisions will influence how smooth the edge is. You can increase the number to make the fillet smoother. Last, let's go through separate surface. At this moment the attribute is unticked. Let's click over here to make the cube editable. The cube's still a whole object when we move it. Now we make a new cube. Take the box first. And then make the cube editable. Now we have got separate surfaces. To see it more clearly, we can press Shift plus V to open the display settings. We can tick or untick to choose the display style that what we want. Okay, if you find this tutorial useful, like the video and subscribe to my channel. And if you want to ask me anything, you can ask me in the comment section. Okay, then see you in another video.